It's number 27 on the Senate Inquiry website. I recommend everyone read it. George.
Thank you, everybody. I have this sad privilege to say a few words about these people over here sitting there that we have elected in so-called democratic election. A bit closer, yeah.
Thank you.
A little bit taller than you. Yeah, what I want to say, I have to speak about this sad state of affairs in this country, in this state especially, because these people which we have elected in so-called democratic elections, they're doing everything possible to please those non-government organizations who are supposedly looking after our child protection system. They are private interests. They are registered as charities. However, they are private interests who are only after the profit. And not the profit that you and I, if we are in any business, try to make. But the profit are doing absolutely nothing for it. And my advice to these guys in here would be, if you are really so charitable and you want to help those so-called charities, give them all these hundreds of millions of dollars you're giving them, but leave all children alone. Leave them alone. Or if you want to compromise, give them half of that money and use the other half to help families who are in need of some kind of education, in need of help, in need of assistance. And I believe education would be most probably effective. Many of the children are taken away. They are taken away from the very young parents without experience. All you need to do is send that parent to a course. The parent can learn what does it mean to care for a child. You don't have to remove it. Of course, there are cases that parents are simply not capable, not interested in learning this. Yes, in those cases you have to remove the child. I have no problem with that one. But you will see these figures that are shown here. Australia is one of the highest in the world per capita of children removed in foster care. New South Wales is 70% higher than the rest of Australia, which means we are on top of the world, apart from Northern Territory. They are a little bit higher than New South Wales for obvious reasons, because most of the people are Aborigines, and Aboriginal removal of children rate is 10 times as high as non-Aboriginal people. So, and these people, they don't listen. I have written to every single member of the parliament. I have shown them how can they save $500 million a year. Nobody was interested. They passed everything to, at the time, Prue was minister. Prue passed it to the Director General, who was John Moon, guy, whatever his name was. He said, yeah, we are taking care of this, don't worry about it. The government is obliged to publish on the web page how much money is given every contract that they have with anyone. If contract is worth more than $150,000, there was simply not a single mention of any contract or any money they have paid to these non-government organizations who look after care system, who are collecting hundreds of millions of dollars, because what they were doing, they were issuing the bills that are less than $150,000, so they don't have to publish anything. Now, I think they have changed. I haven't looked at it yet, but I believe they have now some kind of system of bulk billing. Agency gets care of children. Yes, how many children have that many? Yep, here's your money. So nobody knows how much money is gone. Nobody knows how much money is gone to these private hands. When it comes to legal system, Mary mentioned something. I became involved in children's court proceedings, and later on in district court and the Supreme Court, and now even High Court. When I walked into children's court first time, I looked around and I thought, is this court of law? Because it didn't look like one. I mean, honestly, I couldn't figure out what the hell is going on. It took me quite some time to grasp what actually the legislation says. It is not the best legislation in the world. Nevertheless, there are built-in protections, there is built-in justice. However, the legislation as it is has been totally perverted. the lawyers are interpreting, putting it upside down. As Mary mentioned, there is no rule of evidence. But apart from that, there's no rule of law. What they do, they take a child on the grounds of somebody whom you do not know who it is, made a report. The caseworkers, by law, has to investigate, unless they think that the report is not worth investigation. However, they do not investigate. They just keep reporting it. And whenever somebody calls, they said, we'll call helpline again. So they accumulate statistics. And one day, when there's a vacancy in the foster care system, they look at this, oh, okay, this guy has 16 risk of harm reports. Go get the child. They get the child. Now, the parent is taken to the court, and normally these parents are from lower social status, I would say. They do not have money to pay for their lawyer. So they get a legal aid lawyer. And their own legal aid lawyer comes to them and said, listen, if you consent, but it was without admission, you just consent, you're going to get your child back very soon. If you don't consent, you may never see your child again. And so many mothers and fathers, they come to me and they told me what they have done. I said, you are insane. I said, they have put pressure on me. I have no choice but to do that. So what they do, they said, you consent that your child is in need of care or protection. This is what the government needs. Because if the court would find that the child was not in need of care or protection and was taken away, then the government will be liable to pay damages. So you go to magistrate court, even if you do not consent, the magistrate must find that the child is in need of care or protection, because he will lose his job. Because of exposing the government to paying damages to the parent from whom they removed the child. So I was told, I say only 6 years experience, but some people have much more experience than I do. They said 90 to 95% are decided on consent, where parents are literally coerced into consenting. This is not the rule of law. There is no rule of evidence. That's fine. We can overcome that. But if the caseworker investigates the report of risk of harm, and the caseworker comes into witness box, then you can cross-examine caseworker about her finding.